television. You're live, Lynnis.
Hi, everybody. I'm live. Hi, welcome to the Wellness Woman Show. And hello, Facebook Live, all my women on the Wellness Woman Facebook page. Wonderful to be live with you and almost in person. Some of you have been following me for like 3 or 4 years, so it's so cool that every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I get to come into your Facebook Live, either on your cell phone, your PC, or you're sitting in your living room looking at the big screen, whichever one it is, and get a chance to share with you some of the key things that I'm passionate about when it comes to being well in your mind, body, and spirit. You know, the Wellness Woman Show is all about bringing to you interviews with women who have inspired me to want to share with you alternative ways to be well. There's so many different things that you can do to keep yourself motivated, to keep yourself inspired and healthy as you age and move towards that fantastic age, whatever it is. For me, it's 60. For someone else, it might be 40 or 50, or somebody else, it might be 70. Whatever it is truly something to look forward to, and it is truly an opportunity to supercharge your life. Now, I'm using that term supercharge because I have with me my very good friend and wonderful author, Vicki L. Ward. She is the author of 7 books, and her latest book is really, really good. It's Supercharge Your Life, okay? After 60, 10 tips to navigate a dynamic decade. And I have to tell you that even though it says after 60, I would read this book if I was 40 so that you can get to 60. Because it's so much good information. But if you are 60 or older, it's never too late to get your life on track. You know, I have some friends who are saying, oh, well, you know, I can't retire because I didn't plan well and all these other things in terms of what's going on in their life. But guess what? There are answers to that. And there are ways to get motivated and inspired to do other things with your life. If you have to work a little bit longer, that's okay. This book is going to show you the kinds of things you need to be thinking about to keep energized, to do some estate planning, and basically to get your life in order after 60. So I want to introduce to you Vicki Ward. She's the author. And Vicki, thank you for being on the Wellness Woman Show. It's great to have you today.
Lynnis, I thank you so much for having me here. I'm very excited to be here and to do a live show with your audience. That's a treat for me. So well, I really thank you.
Well, it's a treat for me. We're finally seeing each other. Virtual hug. Well, tell me, I know you worked on this book for a while, and I'm honored to actually have contributed to the book, but that's not why I love it so much because I contributed to it. I love it so much because it's a practical book, but it's also fun to read, and it's so well put together. What made you decide to take on this project?
Well, you know, I've been working toward this for a while. Some of my other books, my first couple of books have been collections of life stories from women. It's just letting us know that women are bonded together no matter where on this planet you live. Women are the nurturers in the family. They bear the children. They raise the children. And when women tell their stories, they're talking about very similar things. And so that lets us know. So so after I wrote a couple of those, then I wrote Savvy, Sassy, and Bold After 50. And it was a midlife rebirth. So I was coming along with that. And it was important for women to recognize that, again, if you're getting closer to 50, this is the time when you can start saying no to people. You've been saying yes to spouses and husbands and children and bosses and so many other people, and women haven't been taking care of themselves. And so the natural evolution was to come a little further. And so a lot of the information that I present both is something that I've gone through and things that I'm always talking to women about. And Supercharge Your Life was born. I didn't know it was going to take this long.
Well, you know, it was worth waiting for. It really was. Because when I saw how you had organized it and so many different collaborators, so many fantastic women that you have brought together from various expertise, from wellness to lawyers, you had writers that were in there and other women who shared different parts of their lives, estate planners, doctors, therapists. There's just a plethora of people that have contributed to this book. Tell me a little bit about how the book is comprised and what's in the book in general.
Well, what I did a lot of research putting it together. And so it was important for me to recognize some of the most important things. And of course, it's our health care, our wealth, the transitions. We don't have enough people talking about the transition now. You notice that when baby boomers became the biggest thing on the earth, all you saw was a lot of information about what we could do with our money, of course, because they wanted it. They knew that we were we were the richest people on earth to have retired at this age, and so they wanted that. But you also found a lot of information about medication, about this kind of medication and that medication, and so yes, as our bodies are older, we will become less agile at some point. But that doesn't mean it's the end. And so what I really wanted to do was start with health and wellness. I wanted to talk about what it means to us to be healthy and well. And one of the things that I included in the very beginning of the book, I've got several different food lists, about 5 food lists. Mm-hmm. It's about being healthy and the food list. And so it talks about, the good foods for cholesterol, the good foods for your heart healthy, the good foods that are good for us that we kind of forget about because no one brings it around and you just don't think about it. And so it made it possible to develop a diet, a regular diet, and I'm not saying a diet to lose weight, a regular daily diet that has all of the healthy things that you need and that you want. These are things that you already like, and once you find out that you like them, and you can eat more of them. And so it was important that we recognize, get in the gym, go out on the street, get in your spare bedroom with a video and some barbells. But it's important that we, because all of the health information tells us that there's all of the things that we've lost over the time of our life. Recognizing that we can't build back some of those things, but we sure can cut the loss.
Yes. You can retard the aging process. When I tell women all the time that, interestingly enough, you're thinking that as you get older, you can relax a little bit and maybe not do as much as you did when you were younger. But actually, it's just the opposite. Here's the good news. If you're someone that used to exercise before or used to do a lot of movement before, just keep doing it and then some. You have to add more. Now, if you've never exercised before and this is the first time you've done it, it will take an adjustment, but it is life affirming to do so. It's not so much about what you look like. It's really more about what your health is like. We weren't, I see all the time, we weren't created to be stick figures. I mean, we're supposed to move our joint, we're supposed to get the body moving. Right. And we are a sedentary society. And the baby boomers definitely are all about that because we were right in the computer age where people began sitting all the time. In their jobs. And now even with social media, you're thinking that you've gone somewhere, but you're still sitting. Right. So even more so, it's important to move. So I love that you spent quite a bit of time talking about that. There's one of the tips, there's 10 tips. And I want to just read the tips real quick because tip has all kinds of different chapters, but it's time to change your thinking, supercharge your life, meet your body. The other one is here's to better health. How do you spell retirement? Essential life planning. Keep your posse together. Hello, senior discount. Maintaining a life balance. Fraud scams. The culture of aging. And you've just been supercharged. Now, those are fantastic chapters, but in each one of those, you've got some topics that are really important. Tell us a little bit, maybe just a little bit skinny about each one of those and why they're important.
The very first one is time to change your thinking. And that's when I recognized, we need to introduce that early. Because, whatever you thought about aging before, whatever we saw our parents doing, we're aging very, very differently. We have different bodies. We have different medical advances that assist us in living a better, a more healthy life. So I wanted to put something like that. Just really start thinking about changing your mindset. And the Supercharge Your Life. I wanted to get the little analogy of someone standing on the corner and you see these motorcycles drive up and they're super red. You hear and you feel it and you're standing there. Well, that's what we want to do with our bodies. We can bring them up to a capacity that we may not have seen in a long time. But it's about, doing that for your body. I wanted to talk about the better health. As I said, I had those food lists that were included. When I'm talking about retiring, that's the one thing that you mentioned earlier that I found that so many people that I talk to aren't prepared for retirement. They didn't save enough money. They didn't make the changes or do the things that they should have done. And as a result, they are not prepared. And so what it does, we're talking about this. So it gives you an opportunity to hear what experts are saying about it. And you still have some time to get yourself ready. You still have your time to look at part-time jobs. There are part-time things. But then when we're talking about getting ready for retirement, you may be downsizing. You may have all of that stuff that you got in a storage shed or in your shed and in your garage. Sell it. It gets you some more money. Plant a little bitty garden where you have your greens and you have your black eyed peas and you have some things that, so you're actually contributing because you're exercising out there, but you're also contributing to having something healthy that you don't have to necessarily purchase. Mm-hmm. The wills and that's the one thing that was very, very important, the wills and the trust. Most of the people that I talk to, they do not have a will or a trust. And it means that upon their death, the family is in chaos. And we've seen that. We've seen that a number of times. And so it was important that I had made the decision to have a trust drawn and naming my son as the trustee. And then that means that everything, you don't have to go to probate court. Families don't have a lot of money. They don't have a lot of time. And there's so much money and time invested in that. So it was important. So people are now waking up to the fact they think a will is good enough, and it really isn't. Mm-hmm. You've got all of those possessions, and then, of course, you have the people in the family that are left that have decided what they should have, and it wasn't what you decided they should have, so it makes it plain. One of the things that I really liked when I found out about the scams and the frauds that are played on seniors, and it was really important to read that and to include it, because there's so many things, because what they did some psychological studies indicating that at this stage in life, seniors really want it calm. They want things to work out. They want, nothing to be, erratic. And what they discovered is that if someone comes to your door and says, oh, there's a gas leak or whatever, and you go and you let them in your home, you have no idea who you're letting in the house because you're trusting. And so those are some of the things that seniors were finding that they were being duped. And so it was important to put the list of scams and frauds out there, and a lot of states have specific laws about, pensions, people attempting to take someone's pension and saying, well, I will help you out, with your pension, and they've ended up taking your money and they're gone. So that was important. The senior discounts, is always fun to save money.
Yes.
I couldn't leave that out at all. It's important for us to have that discretionary income, but at the same time, we want to save the money, and so there's supermarkets and there's discount stores, there's clothing stores, there's furniture stores. There are stores and businesses and restaurants that abound that are just dying for you to get in there and spend your money. And so it's another fun place that something I put in there. There's a chapter that's called Keeping Your Posse Together.
Yeah, you know what? I wanted to focus on that for a minute because that's so important. Because I know myself, I work at home and have been working from home now and working for myself for 10 years. This will be 9 years in April. And that coupled with, now I'm, going to be 61 in June, but I started this business in my 50s. And right around 50 is when, in many ways, you kind of isolate. You kind of withdraw into yourself. And some of that, you're doing self-care, maybe just enjoying being by yourself because the kids maybe are gone. Yeah. Maybe the husband's gone too for whatever reason. And you have more time on your hands. But you have to be careful about that because you turn around and go, wow, where are my girlfriends at? And girlfriend time is so important.
It's vital. It's lifeblood. It's a lifeblood throughout our lives, but it's even more so now because in the UK, I don't know if you're aware of, in the UK, they've just appointed an administrator of loneliness.
Wow.
In the United Kingdom. And I had read about the fact that they had this going on. And so what I found out is that loneliness is really affecting more people as they age because they're retiring, they're home alone. Many of the spouses or significant others may have died. Friends have moved away. Things are so very different. And so what I did, I contacted a professor who created the gold standard loneliness study. And it's in the book. So you actually can go in there and answer the series of questions to determine where you are in this loneliness scale. it's not always just being lonely at home. It could be in a room, in a crowd of people.
Yes.
And for whatever reason, you're not connecting, they're not connecting. And so the loneliness. And so it was important for me to bring that up, because so it's about getting engaged. Find that something that is fun for you. When you talked about friendships, a group of us, we've been friends for over 50 years, and we got together at a friend's house last year, and we spent a couple of nights, and it was Girl City, and it was a wonderful thing. We'd always had a bond close to each other, but at those 2 nights made a big difference. So it's important that you continue to keep these people in your life, continue to have dates, lunches, dinners, whatever it is.
Yeah, I agree with you. Studies have shown that there is a hormone that is created when women get together that is good for you, that doesn't happen any other time than when we are fellowshipping together. And so it's very important, it's vital that you take the time to do it. And the interesting thing is, you'll be surprised, wellness women out there who are listening, if you were to call someone you hadn't talked to for a long time, and they'll tell you, wow, I've been thinking about calling you, and you've been thinking about calling them. You're both thinking about each other. No one makes the call.
Exactly.
5 years go by, 6 years go by, and years go by, and you haven't reached out to that person. So I want to challenge you, because this is really good for your emotional health and physical health, to reach out to. Everybody has that one friend. I've got one. She called me just the other day, and she was like, Lynnis, call me, girl.
Yes.
Call your girlfriends. Call your posse.
It's important. Just schedule that lunch. Put it out there, because it does so much for you. It just makes you healthier.
Yes.
Because so many changes. Our lives have changed. That now work is no longer the focus necessarily when you're over 60. And now the focus becomes, of course, those grandkids. Those grandkids always come around, and they always manage to find you a purse. And there's always something to do for them, buy for them, etc. But it's important that you build in some things into your life, that you build in some time for a variety of things. If you're spiritual, it's building in, making sure you're going to church. If it's a part-time job, making sure you're doing that. If you like writing, go try something new. Go to an art museum. Go to adult day school. There's courses where you can learn to cook, different cuisine, where you can learn to write, where you can learn to sculpt. There's so many things that you can do. And so that's why, let me come back to the cover of the book.
Yes.
Cover of the book. The cover of the book shows 5 women riding Harley Davidson underneath the Golden Gate Bridge, and each one of these women are 65 and over.
Wow.
And the reason I did that, it was important because when we were talking about disrupt the aging, I wanted for people to recognize that this isn't your grandmother's time in life where she might have been very comfortable rocking in the rocking chair and watching her stories during the day. But for those of us who have been active and have been vital, it's important to just keep it going. And so when people see this, they are really amazed that these women are all on motorcycles. And so, of course, I went to the motorcycle dealer, Harley Davidson, and told them what I wanted to do. And they ushered us in and just gave us that opportunity to show that this is what women over 65 are doing.
That's fantastic. And I always, want to tell people that midlife, or maybe going beyond midlife, doesn't mean no life. There's so many things that you can do. In fact, many women, especially in the boomer generation, unlike any other generation, are entering into their second, their third careers.
That's it.
It's totally different.
And going back to college and everything.
Yeah, going back to college, getting their doctorates or getting their first degree.
Yes.
Someone was just saying to me the other day, they noticed just recently, because we went through the award season, that there were so many more women of age that were
of age.
Yes.
I saw the same thing.
Absolutely.
And I think that's something that's been kind of swept under the rug, mainly because we didn't have that presence necessarily to be out there, and what the thing that I recognize in my research is that men and women retire very, very differently. See, because you may have been known as Joni of finance when you were at work, but now you're just Joni. And that's a transition to make, but for men, it's much more difficult.
The ego and everything is involved in all of that.
Exactly. They don't make the transition as easily as we do. And so recognizing that we will bond with each other, that we will help a sister out, that we are there for each other, that's what's really, really important. And I find that, just spreading the word. Let me talk one little about the life challenges part.
Yes.
The stories are in there. What I've realized is that in all of my other past books, that first person narrative has been something that's really important, but it's going from heart to heart. And so those books have been award winners, and because of the information that is in there, and it's heartfelt to other women that are reading it. And so what I wanted to do was to give that same opportunity. So I spoke with some psychologists and some other people that were, working right alongside me. I said, is this the book and is this the place? Because I'd like to include it. And they said, yes. I've got 20 stories, and I think 2 are from men. All the others are from women. And it's about a life challenge, because each and every one of us has life challenges that we resolve, that we settle. Some person had cancer. Another person lost their mom and mothered her mother unto death, took care of her mother. Another person, it's just all of the things that these people have gone through. Another one went through, her daughter had cancer. And so what it's showing is that we're in this community together. We're in this community of life, and we support each other. And so by putting those in there, it binds people together again, letting them recognize that, wow, that's something that I may be able to do, because maybe that's when we're talking caregiving.
Yes.
There are 3 ladies in there that are talking about mothers with Alzheimer's, and they became caregivers. So there's people additional information on a way they may resolve a caregiving issue, or something like that. So I thought it was important to really tie everyone together with those life challenges, and it's been very successful.
Yes, it's very true, because caregiving can become a very big part of your life. And I wanted to say something about that, because what happens many times is that we fall right back into that same mode of living like we were when we were in our 30s and 40s, taking care of our kids and everything else. Now we have parents that are almost, in some cases, like children. But we have to find a way, because we don't have maybe another 50 or 60 years. We have to find a way to still put ourselves on the front burner. And taking care of your parents not only takes a physical toll, it is an emotional toll.
Absolutely.
All the more reason for you to take out time for you. And I find that sometimes women still, even when they're retired and everything else, the idea of doing something for themselves, there's that guilt thing that's attached to that. Yes. Why do you think that is? Why do you think
it's just always been with women that when, we're supposed to be the backbone and the nurturer of the family. And when someone sees us taking some time out or spending some time on us or some money on us, we're made to feel guilty that, why are you doing that? Well, we're doing that because we have attended to everyone else's need.
Right.
And now this is the time that I can tend to my needs so that I can continue to tend to yours.
Right, exactly. Exactly. It's something like what they talk about on the airplane, and it's oxygen or whatever. What do you do?
Put your mask on first.
On yourself first, right? And there's nothing wrong with loving yourself, because really, true love and care for others truly does start.
Absolutely. And I have a story in here. I mean, an actual story from a lady that's authored a book on caregiving, and she had 2 parents. Her 2 parents. That she was trying to take care of, and she's an only child. So she wrote the book more out of, to keep pulling her hair out because of all the changes that she had to go through, getting them to take their meds, getting them to recognize the changes in their lives, that they no longer could do certain things. One of the ladies that has a parent with Alzheimer's, they had to convince her mother that the keys to the mother's car were missing because she was insisting on wanting to drive. And she no longer had the capacity to safely drive herself around.
Yes.
So all of these things come up in our lives. And again, women are the primary caregivers in any of these situations. And men and women will do it very differently. Men may go to appointments. They may pay the bill. But it is women that take off their jobs. It is the women that leave their jobs and go to the parent's house to co-parent over there. She's cooking double meals and things so that they can have something if they insist and still can live alone. So again, it's very, very different caregiving from man to woman.
That's right. Absolutely. I mean, this is a great book, and I highly suggest that you not only buy it for yourself, but you buy it for a girlfriend. That'll be the first time you meet that you're talking about this book. And even though it says Supercharge Your Life After 60, When I participated in writing this book, I think I was 57 or 58. And I absolutely believe that the information here is good for almost any age. But definitely, if you want to get to 60, you got to get this book. Absolutely. Now, where's a good place? Where can they buy the books?
They can go to my website. It's VickiWard.net, VickiWard.net. It's available there. It's available at Amazon, both the ebook and the printed book. You can go to Smashwords.com. And a couple other retailers out there, and any bookstore that you go to, you can go in, order the book, and they'll get it to you.
Fantastic. And again, the name of the book is Supercharge Your Life After 60, 10 Tips to Navigate a Dynamic Decade. It's written by the wonderful, fabulous Vicki Ward. Vicki, thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you so much for having me.
You're absolutely welcome. And thank you, Facebook Live and everybody else. Yeah, and iHeartRadio, YouTube, and all the other places that the fabulous New Earth Television distributes. Thank you so much to my producer, Rachel Love, and to all the other fabulous women who do shows on the New Earth International. If you haven't checked us out, it's newearthinternational.com, and take a look at all those fabulous shows. And make sure that you come back again, for those of you on Facebook, and tune in and watch me on the Praiseworks Wellness Woman page. You just put in the Facebook Wellness Woman page, and be here at 6 p.m. on Tuesdays, and we'll have another fascinating guest to talk about wellness for women over 40. Thanks so much for joining us. My name is Lynnis, and you've been listening to the Wellness Woman Show. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye, Lynnis. Bye-bye, everyone.
You too.